Good evening, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Muzzle Is Off Podcast. I am your host, Nakia Monet, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Haniqua Cardwell with us today. Hi, Haniqua.
Hello there, how are you?
Good, how are you? Listen, it's Wednesday, right? And it's Woman Crush Wednesday, and we got two women on here. And tonight we're going to talk about surviving after the loss, right? Being at that October has a lot of meanings, right? We know it's breast cancer awareness, domestic violence awareness, but it also has another meaning, and it refers to pregnancy and infant loss. And tonight, that is what we're actually going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about how you survive post a pregnancy or an infant loss. How do you make it through that level of a storm into joy, into triumph, into understanding that what felt like would never happen could actually possibly happen. And after experiencing a level of loss and grief and hurt and pain, how you then can truly just be filled with so much joy and happiness and contentment and love and just appreciation.
Right.
And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. That's what we're going to be talking about all month on the Muzzle Is Off podcast. It's that joy, it's that hope, it's that restoring feeling, it's that reviving feeling, it's that redemptive feeling that you have once you actually make it through this, once you actually make it through the storm, and you embrace the joy and the newness of life. So we have Haniqua here. Little known fact, I've known Haniqua for a while now, like almost 8-9 years, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be 10 years soon.
It will be.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met Haniqua was, weren't you in high school?
I was coming out of high school, I believe, at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was nowhere near high school, and that's okay. Just saying, I wasn't. But that's how long I've known Haniqua, and that's how long I've literally watched her, to the point where I never forget, I told her, like, maybe about two years ago, I was like, you're inspiring me at this point, right? And I meant those words because she was literally a walking testimony to something that I was experiencing. And it's good when you can see somebody else come out on the other side of what you're actually going through. So, Haniqua, in your own words, tell the people who you are, and also take us into your journey.
Okay. Hello, I'm Haniqua. On Facebook, I'm Haniqua Janae. I'm a bit nervous, so please excuse my mannerisms. But I'm excited to be here, and I feel that I can express my triumph in many ways, because I've gained so much. I've lost more than just things that are related to pregnancy loss. I've grew up without a mother. I've had so many losses dealing with um, my poor health at such a young age. Dealing with mental health at such a young age. It can apply in so many ways, but I like to just give thanks to God for um, bringing me out of it and allowing me to tell my story. So, due to an autoimmune disease, I autoimmune disease that my mother had, actually the same disease that she passed away from. It had given me complications, and the doctors told me that there was slim to no chance of pregnancy, and that if I would ever conceive, that I would have to have intervention to carry out the pregnancy and have to go to like a fertility specialist and go through those steps to conceive. and carry out a pregnancy. Um, I did get pregnant. It was the first time, I believe, in 2012. I did know you at that time, but I'm not sure. I don't think it was expressed to you at that time, but we had crossed that later on down the line. But um, it hit me hard because I was already in a place of not feeling, worthy. I was already in a place of despair and desperation. I was in a place of wanting love and needing and feeling like I was yearning for love. So I felt like that pregnancy gave me some hope,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost it. It just didn't happen. Um, so it hit me hard. It affected everything about me. From just me becoming more depressed than what I was. So I'm sorry. Excuse me, guys. Give me a minute. I'm a bit
That's all
nervous.
right. Take
This
your
is my first. This
time.
is my first time, y'all. But I do feel like God can use me to execute this properly. So I just want to pause and take a deep breath and start all over again. But it's funny how um God works, because not only did he give me another pregnancy, but he blessed me with 4 children and twins. So that's something. And it reminds me of the story of Job,
Mm-hmm.
when they talk about his losses, and and the things that he lost and the things that he had to go through, and that if he would stay faithful to
Mm-hmm.
God and believe and trust that his word is true, and don't trust man. He's not a man that he shall lie. No matter what science tell you, no matter what any doctor tell you, or that anything is possible through him. He's Go ahead.
I mean, like he gave Job double.
Yes. So that's significant to me, because he blessed me with twins, Nakia.
Mm-hmm.
Twins. Okay. We're talking about me, losing a pregnancy. First of all, them telling me that I couldn't even conceive. I had a pregnancy, lost that pregnancy. I had another experience, but that was earlier on, and I wasn't connected, so I didn't consider it to be a full loss, but it
Mm-hmm.
was still an experience, and that was something that I had to go through, and that I had to deal with, and I had to come to terms with, in regards to what my, like, me thinking that my body just wasn't capable of um, bearing children,
So
and
let's
that.
do that because sometimes I think that as women, one of the things as far as womanhood is concerned is it's supposed to be you're supposed to bear children, and sometimes what happens is that when we can't, it calls into question our own womanhood, and I don't think people like to deal with that because it kind of makes you feel I'm not a woman.
Mhm.
I can't bear children. My job is to create. My job is to birth. My job is to carry in the womb. And, you know, my womb won't produce. And
Right.
it's like, how do you feel when your womb won't produce? Or when the doctors tell you, no, your womb can't produce. No, that's impossible. And if your womb does produce, your womb is going to produce something that is not normal, right? Because that's what they tell you. If
Right.
it does happen, your womb is going to produce something that um, could be deficient in a way, right?
Right. I know exactly what you. Yes. Yes.
And as a woman, you're like, what? What do you mean? My womb can't produce something that is normal. My womb can't produce something that is efficient. my womb can't produce something that is healthy, you're basically telling me that my womb is going to produce something that might cause it even its own self pain.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the reality of the situation when, as a woman, you are dealing with issues with fertility. Because that's what we're
Especially
supposed.
when you're longing, like when you feel like you have a connection with children and for um you're longing for that. You're longing to be able to create something and just love it in a way that nobody else could love you. You want to give it. You just, I felt like, because of I lost my mother at a young age, and everything that I've been through, I felt like I had so much love to give, and that I would love so hard, and I do. I mean, I do now, and that's what I felt at that time. Just want to mention, they told my mother that she wouldn't with me. They told her that she was gonna lose her life. It would either be me or her, and that this was something. It was severe, and it was an experience that my father, he mentions to this day, that he's grateful for. He's grateful that my mother was able to keep her life, and that I was able to be brought into the world healthily. So
Wow.
that's significant, and yeah, it's just it's just powerful how he works, um and how I feel like, you know one thing about me, I said, if I don't get the chance, if I never get the chance to bear a child, I would always adopt, or I will always go into foster care. And I feel like that's a way to embrace and love a child as well, and bear one as your own also. But I just wanted to mention that, because I never
No,
got the
because
chance
it is
to.
an option.
Yes.
Because I always said that even for myself, that when the doctors, when they were, oh, you'll never conceive, you'll never do this, you'll never do that. And I used to be like, well, you know what? I know I can adopt. I know I can become a foster mother, because I said, like you said, with the amount of love that I have to give, I want to be able to give it.
Right.
With the amount of love, unconditional love that I have, because like as a parent, you love your child unconditionally. Like even when they do what some of the worst, you still love them. When they're at their best, you still love them. You know what I'm saying? When they're in between that, you still love them. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? And so
That's
I
right.
would say to myself, like, I want to be able to give that level of unconditional love without conditions, love with, no, even if you make me upset, that's not going to change how I feel about you. Even if I'm upset with you, that doesn't mean that I'm going to punish you by not speaking to you. Even if I'm hurt by you, that does not mean that I'm just going to disregard you and act like you do not exist, and whatever the
Right.
case may be. Because with a child, it is very different. And with human beings, adult world people, it's different, because a lot of that love comes with conditions. A lot of that love comes with, well, I want you around me as long as you don't upset me. As a parent, whether you upset me or not, come
That is
on.
so funny that you're speaking on this, because right now, I'm gonna be transparent. I'm dealing with some issues with my oldest, and it's at a level of where it's testing me. Like, it's overbearing, and I had to take a minute, and I had to let out a cry today, because I was so frustrated with the just the emotions of, just I put so much into other people, that it's like I see myself doing it with my child, and I'm like, with my child, like you said, that's unconditional. So I bear this child. I brought this child into the world. So whatever it takes, I don't care if I have to repeat myself 20 times, 2,000 times, a million times. I'm gonna continue because that's my child. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we constantly are repeating ourselves to adults, to people that don't serve us. You know what I'm saying? And I rather put that into my children and
Mm.
really instill and really love them the right way and do it from diligently from my heart. You get what I'm saying? So it's funny that you mentioned that because I'm going through that right now, and it's a sensitive thing in my household. So
And no, and I can understand. So, just in case anyone did not join us from the beginning, we're speaking with Haniqua Cardwell. Haniqua expressed that from an early age, she lost her mother. Then, on top of losing her mother at an early age, due to an autoimmune disease, she was always told that she would never be able to conceive a child. And if she did conceive, that she would need a lot of assistance in order to bear the child through birth. And Haniqua has
yes.
four children, a set of twins that are just out of this world. And
Oh,
she
and
she
to
defied
mention, the third one is only 10 months, is 10 months apart from the
from the
twins.
twins.
I mean, the
Can
last,
y'all
yes,
imagine?
yes.
She gave. I never forget when I saw that you gave when I saw that you were pregnant with the twins. I was like, OMG. Gave birth to the twins. I'm like, look at these babies. Then here comes the little baby. I said, you know what? She ain't playing no game. I ain't even gonna hold you. I said she ain't playing no games, and I'm not mad at her because she just defied every single odd that they told her that she would not be able to do, and carried them babies through full term. Had some good, healthy babies. You know, they was tiny though. They was tiny. I was like, look at these
Yes,
little
yes.
babies.
I had some issues, but I mean, there's women that go through worse. Like I really, I didn't. I mean, it was rough, but it was worth it. So
Yeah, because if y'all missed it earlier, like I said, I've known Haniqua almost 10 years now, almost, and I've watched her grow. One of the things about me is that we met in church, right?
yes,
I'm not as shocking as this might be for some people. I'm not as vocal as people think I am. There are a lot of people I literally just watch from afar, and Haniqua was one of those people that I literally just watched from afar. I never was one to get into things. You understand what I'm saying? Not like that. Contrary to popular belief, and I'm gonna put that out there because some folks,
yes.
anyway.
Yeah, we
So,
already know.
but I always watched her from afar. I watched her battle countless times, and then I watched her triumph countless times. And what I do believe is that when you enter into motherhood and you become a mother, and like she said, she lost her mother at an early age. So there was always a void there, right?
Yes.
You always had your sister, you always had your dad. But when you're actually looking for that motherly person, that nurturing person, and one of the things that I have learned over the last 2 years is that oftentimes the truth of the matter is what people fail to realize is that when we join ministries, when we join churches, we're actually looking for family, right?
Mm.
And
Okay, now.
because we should be able to find family within the house of God, right? And sometimes, and if I'm lacking in an area that I need, right? Like it's like a vitamin. What a mother provides to you is a vitamin that is necessary that is a necessity for your growth, right? Nurture. When you think of nourishment, you're thinking of nurture. Nourishment literally nurtures you into your potential, right? If I'm lacking in that area of a nourishment called nurture, and I join into a family called the church. Church is supposed to be family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we forsake not the assembling of brethren. What is brethren? Family. So as much as folks don't like to admit this, but it's just what it is. So when I forsake not the assembly and I join in, my main focus is to find that family. Why? Because I need something. I need a type of nourishment that I'm actually lacking, whatever that nourishment is, right? Some people need motherly love, some people need fatherly love, some people need camaraderie, some people just need, whatever that is, right? Because it's a nourishment. And when you can't find that nourishment, you then seek it out elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I'm a natural born nurturer, right? Ever since I was younger, I used to always get I would go to sleepaway camp and I always get the motherly award. You get the motherly award. You're so motherly, right? And I'm like, then as an adult, I'm told I can't never have kids and I'm motherly. How does that work? Right? So when you're seeking out that level of nourishment and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to get it. It's okay. Now I want to give it because I need to give something that I never necessarily received, but I know I have the ability and I know I got the wherewithal to do this. Right? So what do we start doing? We start nurturing men. It's natural. Yeah. Right? And then that ain't working. Y'all ain't receiving my nourishment the way I want you to. That ain't working for me. You know what? Never mind. Mm-hmm. But then you find yourself pregnant. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yes. Now I could be the nurturer. I could be this. I got it. Then you lose it. Mm-hmm. You lose the one person that you know, regardless of the ups and downs. This right here is mine. Yes. This right here is going to love me. Regardless. They might get mad. I hate you. Okay, no, you love me, but it's all right. I know you in your feelings right now. Yes. But this right here is mine. And you lose it. That. Mm-hmm. You lose what you considered yours. You lose what you, even while the fetus is in utero, even while the fetus is growing, right? Your job as a woman, as the mother, is to what? Feed that baby. Nurture the baby. Mm-hmm. I'm protecting it. It's in my womb, surrounded by all this stuff. Y'all can't see me pointing to my womb, but that's all right. Don't worry about it. Just right? It's surrounded, it's encamped, it's protected, and I can't even protect you in there.
Yeah. That's how I felt. I felt like, wow. I felt like I did something. I failed. I messed up. What did I do? I just remember those nights. Let me tell you, it's starting to come back to me now. And I just remember those nights just being so hopeless and up late at night watching like the Word channel, just looking for some type of something, just hoping that the doctors were wrong, that a heartbeat would be found. Like, let me tell you, it just came back to me. Like it just popped in my head that one night, and I just remember that feeling. But I do also believe that everything does happen for a reason. That I will say, but it doesn't take away from the hurt, what we've experienced. It doesn't take away from that loss. Is significant, and it will always be significant. And
that's the key. The key is that even after you come out of it, nothing still takes away from the actual feeling and the emotion of the loss, right? Because like you said, no, I lost. How many did you lose?
talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
You're asking me. I had one pregnancy loss, but there was another situation, but it was at the beginning of conception. Like there was something wrong with the conception. So that I mean, I guess it is a loss.
But it didn't necessarily affect you in
Yeah.
the same manner, right? So we have women that have experienced multiple loss, right? Like they've literally experienced multiple losses. I've only experienced one. You've experienced one, but it affects us all the same.
Right.
Whether it's one, whether it's four, whether it's five, whether it's six, it affects us all the same because we remember those losses. We don't forget. And that's the key. The key is that you don't ever forget.
No.
And even after making it through the loss, right? Because I do not believe that you necessarily, and everybody is different, right? Because some people, it's like, oh, okay, I had a miscarriage. Okay, fine. You know,
Yeah.
because everybody processes miscarriage differently. Because some people, you might not view it the same way. However, it's also something that we very rarely actually discuss openly. It is very rare that you have women that are going to come out and say, I experienced pregnancy loss.
Right.
And guess what? And this is how it made me feel. I felt inadequate. I felt I felt as if I was deficient. I felt as if something was wrong with me. Like you said, like there's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
I felt like, I mean, I know for myself, I used to really tell people like I just believe my womb is cursed.
I used to say, yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
why would God do this to me? No matter how many stories I might have read in the good book, no, something is wrong here. You know what I'm saying? And we go through all of those emotions, we go through all of those feelings, we go through all of that to then conceive and lose it.
Yeah.
And then you go back to God and you're like, wait a minute, sir, this ain't what this was supposed to be about. This was not the agreement. This can't be
There's some
life.
feelings that you don't even. There's some feelings that you have towards God that you don't even want to express or
No, but
explain.
I'm
It's
gonna
just like
express it because you're angry and you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be angry because you're angry.
yes, you are. Yes, you're right.
You are very angry. You're very much so in the the immense amount of pain that you feel. God, you can't possibly love me to do that, to put me through this. I don't know how I'm gonna make it out of this. You know what I'm saying? Like you run through all of that stuff. You be like, okay, all right, okay. Hannah and Penina, all of them. Okay. Sarah, all of that. You run through all of that. You run through all
Oh
them stories.
man.
Yeah, let Sarah, I couldn't have my Isaac. And some of you might be like, I couldn't have my damn Isaac because I know I said it. Because come on, I'm real enough to say that. So really, this what we doing in this season, right now in this time. This is what we're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we have to be real and say, yeah, I was angry with God. It's okay.
Right.
I was pissed off. That I was angry. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Even in my anger, I might have even sinned. I didn't cuss him, but I almost ate the bitter tree. Hello, and that's real because it's a real emotion, and we have to not be afraid or ashamed of our emotions because guess what? When you sit in that emotion and you don't let it out and you don't
Yes.
express it, it eats you up on the
It'll
inside.
pile up. It'll pile right up. That's right.
Yeah, and because I know I've been listen, I ran down every single last prophecy people told me. You hear me, Lord? They said, you said, hello.
Yeah.
So somebody was
But you
lying.
know what? You know. You
Just
know what
saying.
though? In that time, because I feel like in that time, that's how we feel. and of course, you would know more than anybody that we have grown so much since our experiences, but now we're able to look back and see maybe why, or maybe what God was really trying to block, and what what was real, what He really was doing. Maybe there was some pain there that He had to, like you said something one night on the podcast. You said your pain had birthed your purpose, and I feel like it birthed your purpose. I mean, you've been through so much pain. You've experienced so many different experiences, but I feel like you said, you always was considered motherly, or would be acknowledged as maternal, or um, motherly. But because you are, when you created this podcast, you became a mother to many. Like you really did. You really have. And you see how you said you birthed your purpose. You birthed this purpose, and you are mothering so many through this platform. And I just want to tell you, because I watch you. It's funny that you mentioned that about me. um I'm feeling, I'm like me, with my shyness and my little shy self and my anxiety. But I see you, and how He's done great things in you, and I take a lot from you, Nakia. Like, I've learned so much, and I appreciate what you have, you know, um, the gems that you dropped, like the knowledge, like the wisdom that so I feel like, even though we may not, I don't know, but we look at it. I mean, we've experienced loss. It's painful. It's something that no woman will want to go through. Um, but he had a purpose, and he had a plan, and I still wouldn't wouldn't give up hope on what's to come. I'm just gonna say that and put that out there. So but yes, I believe that you're mothering many through this platform, and yeah,
She
you
said, "I'm gonna
have
put
you
that
have
out."
it.
She said, "I'm gonna put that out there, and that's it." That's
Mhm.
what she
Mhm.
said.
Mhm.
Ball drop, boom. But I thank you, because that truly, what, I'm a very transparent person, right? Like I don't. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like whatever I've done it, and whatever I didn't do it. Period. That is just who I am in a nutshell, right? And one of the things that I realized was connections, right?
Mm.
So I know for myself, um, there needed to be a severance of a connection, right?
Mm.
And sometimes, um, to birth something that you're not, within something that you're not supposed to be connected to, it can be detrimental for you in the long run, right? For other people, that's not necessarily their truth, nor is it their story, right? Because for other people, they're actually in loving marriages, they're actually in, loving homes, and the way they might process through the loss is totally different from how because, and that's the key. No one is saying that everyone processes through the loss the same way, because we don't.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? We literally don't. Um, but we all process through it to get to our purpose of it, right? In order to understand it. And one of the things that I want to remove is the stigma of shame from talking about it.
Mm.
Because a lot of the times we don't feel empowered enough to talk about it and say, I had a miscarriage, without feeling the guilt behind it, without feeling the pain behind it, without feeling the hurt behind it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to remove that, because I'm not ashamed that I had a miscarriage. I'm not ashamed that I could not carry that baby full term. Um, the hurt behind it is still there because it's still a loss, but it's not like a stabbing type pain anymore. Like it
Mm-hmm.
used to be it was very cutting, like to the core. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yes.
really about to take the life out. You know, and for you and your story, and not even just your story, but for you and your life experience, to experience loss of a parent, to then go and then be told, you ain't gonna be a mother neither, right? So not only did I lose a mother, now you're telling me I'm also losing becoming a mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the process, right? There ain't no sensitivity training going on in the doctor's office on how to really relay that level of a
Right.
message, right?
Right.
Ain't no none of that. Everything is just, this is just what this science says this, and this is what I'm going to tell you. And as cutting as it may be, to actually see the other side of that and be like, now what your science got to say about that?
Yes. Yes.
Because
And
I got both.
that's what you took the words. That's what I said. That's what I was trying to figure out. But I
How did it feel when you first conceived Miss Genesis?
oh man, it was something. And it was, see, that's the thing. I was fearful. So it was like we're excited and we're embarking on this journey, and I'm hopeful, but yet I'm fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I was holding on for dear life, just praying, because I've experienced some things in, early on in that pregnancy, and I thought it was done. I thought it was over, and I would call the doctor all the time, through all day, through the middle of the night. Can I come in? Can you check me out? What's going on? Can I have an ultrasound? And then I was set up with a specialist who was monitoring me daily with all the pregnancies, but it was a lot. But it was the joy, the it was the like what do they say, the rain, like it was the sunshine after the
After
storm.
the storm.
That was that it
Mm-hmm.
was that feeling of joy, and I'm so grateful. And I knew that even though this was a miracle, that I, with all my pregnancies, I wait for God to give me a name. It's like I just let Him speak to me, and it just comes. And so with Genesis, um, I named her that because even though I was in the situation that I was in, I was still hopeful that there was more to come. So her name is significant. Like, she's the beginning, and I knew that no science, no man, no nothing can outdo my God. So I believed and I trust and I kept the faith, and I named her Genesis because she was my beginning. She was the beginning of many. She was the beginning of a change, the beginning of, like you said, womanhood. For me, she was the beginning of, and she was the first of more to come. I just knew. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, but I knew there would be some more to come.
I love how you just said that. You said she was the beginning of more to come.
Mhm.
And she
Mhm.
loved being her beginning self,
Oh
okay?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I see those good pictures and stuff with her brother and sisters, and Miss Honey is enjoying being the boss. 'Cause
Yes.
Genesis
She's
is the boss, okay?
You already know.
Them poor babies. They probably like, we ain't got no.
But we working on it. We working on the right structure, and her settling in her place. I told her, you gotta back down. You gotta listen. You're the beginning. You will never. Your place will never change. And somebody asked me, um, who do you love more? Do you have a favorite? And I said, there's none. And they're like, no, there's always that one.
They don't know
No,
when you fight for all your kids, they all your favorite.
no. Yes, because
I
they're
done
all
fought for
peculiar
all.
in their own
Mhm.
way. So what I love about her is for her. What I love about that one is that one. And it's not, I don't love one more than the other. It's just they're all peculiar and I love them all just the way they are. And I'm grateful.
Which one cut the other one's hair? I know it was Faith and
Oh, it
Angel.
was Genesis.
Genesis, yes. Genesis cut that poor baby's hair.
She cut my baby's hair. Yeah, she cut the baby's hair. The youngest one. I think you mix up Faith and
Faith and
Angel.
Angel. But Faith is the twin.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I gotta remember. Faith is the twin. Angel.
She's a little Genesis. I see her. She's like following after both the girls. They love Jen. But Faith, she's a little, I see her like she loves that. She has that thing about her. And I'm like, oh Lord, we got to fix this right now. So, but I love them. Those are my babies.
Ma'am, they get it from you. So we right. Because that's how I met you.
Yes, I couldn't hear you because you was breaking up. So I said, I couldn't hear you for a second. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I said, but that's how I met you. You was always with that.
That is so funny. That's what everybody says. You have that little thing. You have that stuff. You be in your own world. I didn't even realize it. But Genesis, she's times 10. Like she'll put, here she go, come walking down the walkway, posing and shooting, and she wants all the attention. She will take the attention from the babies. She don't care.
But that's the joy. That's the joy after the storm. It's like, how long did it take for you to actually conceive with Genesis? And then after Genesis, how long did it take?
It was 2 years after. So that loss was 2012. Genesis was born in 2014. Well, so I conceived her in 2013. It really wasn't that long. Wow.
Look, when you think about it, right?
I'm really thinking about it, and it's funny because you say we don't embrace it, we don't live it, and I'm so grateful for you bringing me to this platform because I'm going through a healing process right now. Like, this is closure for me on many levels that I didn't even realize. It seems like this year I was forced to relive a lot of things because God is getting ready to do something so great. And in order for him to allow that to happen, he had to, start the healing. I had to start the process and bring closure to a lot of things that I didn't know that I was battling, or I didn't know that I was, harboring some feelings and emotions about. So that's deep. And I don't really go back and take the time to look at the time frame and how this happened, but it was about a good year. And I was in a better place than I was, I want to say, before when I had lost. So when I look back, in hindsight, I'm grateful. I don't think that I was in the place, even just where my health was at the time, to bring a baby into this world. So I'm grateful for that. And I'm glad that, I had to go through some hurt and some pain, but a lot of our hurt and our pain and our brokenness and our things that break us down, it brings us to a better place. So.
And as long as we can literally process through it, I use terminology like process because I believe that everything that we go through, we have to learn how to process through it. And that means taking the necessary steps, right? Everything is a step. Even a loss is a step. And now I need to step into my healing and into my place of wholeness after this loss. Because a loss means something was taken away, right? When you lose something, it's taken away. So how do I replenish? And it's not that I'm replenishing by replacing a loss, one pregnancy loss with another pregnancy. No, but how do I restore myself back to where I was prior to this loss? Or how do I then allow this loss to heal so that I'll be able to be, to be pushed forward, right? And a lot of that really does come into the place of finding the purpose within that loss, right? And then, but in your instance, it was like, okay, boom, I had a loss. I had to go through that loss. And I had to process through that loss. In that year's time span, did you think about it or did you just move on?
I thought a lot about it. From what I could remember, I mean, you mean the years like with having the birthing new children and things like that? I put it
Just
to the
within
back of
the.
my mind.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it was just more so right after and dealing with it within with that first 6 months. It was just like a devastation, like an unbearable heaviness, and just loss. Like because you lose not only the fetus, but you lose a part of yourself as well. So it just was it was heavy. I just remember it being heavy. I remember um, having someone take a jab at me around that time, or maybe not too long after. Take a jab. Someone that when you talk about church and you know looking for family or acceptance in a church or in a community where you it's supposed to be love and acceptance. You're supposed to embrace, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like um there was a lot of people that there was a lot of things that happening around that time, and what's so funny is there was something said to me in regards to that loss, and that hit me too. That hit me deep, and that's another, you know what I mean, like to have someone say, well, that's why you can't, or um, you want to be me because I can and you can't. Oh my goodness, it's like that's not the case. I don't want anybody's life, but I'm hurting from my experience. And how can one even find the words, a woman can even find such words and utter them to another woman? You know what I'm saying? So that that did some more damage. That did a lot of uh I don't know what you call it, but it hurt and it scarred me, and I still I remember it till this day. Just that pain, going through that pain, and then experiencing someone take a jab at you like that. It's a lot.
What I will say is that sometimes, you know how they say like all's fair in love and war?
Mhm.
And sometimes when you're at war with people, that's how people feel, right? Because literally April, May, June, July, 3 months after my miscarriage, the ex said to me in an email, stay barren,
Ooh.
right? And I was like, stay broke. How about that? Right? And sometimes
Mm.
people, and this is not to excuse words, right? But this is how we don't allow words to have power over our life, right?
Mhm.
Because sometimes people might express things because we're at war. So, what best way for me to get
Mhm.
at you than for me to say something that I know that's going to cut you? We at war.
Mhm.
So, my job is to knock you out because we at
That's
war.
right.
And you need to be quiet. You need to be silent. You need to take this hit because we at war. And what sometimes, and I said this to somebody like one of these darn days. I don't remember what day it was, but whatever. Um, it was something that up there that I that was preached one Sunday, And what the bishop said was, words carry spirits.
Mm.
And every word that you speak is attached to a spirit.
Mm.
That's how powerful words are. So if I speak a vile word to you, that's a vile spirit that I am now assigning and attaching to you, right? So
Mm.
depending upon where that word hits is how it's going to affect you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I appreciated it when he preached it, right? Because I was like, words got spirits. Words are spirits. I understood it, but I didn't appreciate it until I got older, and not
Yes.
age-wise, but mature, to understand that you call me ugly. If I receive that level of ugliness on the inside of me, that spirit that that word carries will now resonate on the inside of me. So now
Right.
I feel ugly, right? So now that a person said to you, oh, at war, you mad because I got kids and you don't. You mad because I could do something that you can't. You mad because this is what it all boils. These types of words. This is what it boils down to. You mad because I can give life and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You mad because so that's what it sounds like, right? And it's words that are used to actually cut you at your core. Why?
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't speak no more. Don't
Yep.
say nothing else to me. I don't want to hear nothing else that you got to say. I'm going to speak this so that you can now be silent. That is part of the reason why the name of this podcast is The Muzzle Is Off. There's nothing that is untouchable, right? There's nothing that we can't talk about,
Right.
right? We can talk about it all, right? And the reason why we can talk about it all is because if it happened and it's the truth, I'm going to talk about it, period. And you have free range to talk about it. But we have to understand is that people will literally try to attach things to us when we are at war, right? And then, but when you're at a peaceful time, when everybody throw up them white flags, because now, everybody throw it, this towel, throw it in. Everybody got to throw it
Mm-hmm.
in. So now we're at a different time. And that's when one should be able to apologize for ill words that were spoken, right? But everybody's not able to do that at that present moment in time. So now me, have to process through this feeling of barrenness, brokenness, inability, incapability, because now this word that you just spoke seems to be true, right? Because at that time it was real. That was the truth. And
I
that's
feel
what
like
and
I
that's
feel
what I
like
saw.
I feel like that's how I'm sorry. I just wanted to say this. I feel like that's how the enemy keeps us in blindness, keeps us bound through those lies. So yes, when you say the muzzle is off and we need to speak our truth, that's right, because we have to stop living in denial. We have to stop speaking. We need to speak exactly. I always say, I'm even expressing, I'm trying to teach my daughter, say what you mean and mean what you say, okay? And show by your actions, display and live it in your actions through your character and who you are, because that's how the enemy will keep you bound. It's a lie. If it's a lie, you know, he wants to keep us insecure and stuck in our heads and um, not confident in ourselves, so we could stay suppressed. And and I'm just so glad that I know, if you stand firmly, confidently in who you are, you know who you are. Can nothing touch you? Can nothing move you? There was a lot of words that I, oh man, things about my children, all types of things, and that was when I was in a bad place. I was in a bad place, so that clung to me, like you said. And now I know who I am. I have overcome so much, and I know who I am. I have been renewed. You know, I have been transformed. There's nothing that anybody can tell me. You know, all right, I'm ugly. Okay, that's your opinion. Have a good day. You know what I'm saying?
But not even that. Let me say that because I think that sometimes this is why I keep saying when we're at war,
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn how not to be at war amongst each other. Period. I don't live at war with any person. I refuse to, right? Now, you bring war, I fight.
Yes.
But I choose not to live at war with anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem with battle. Sometimes when we're in battle, we speak things that, truth be told, if I was at a peaceful time, I probably wouldn't even say it. I wouldn't even thought it. You know what I'm saying? But when we go too far out there in war, it's very hard to pull back what you did not necessarily mean. And then on top of that, it is very hard to come to a meeting of the minds because now all I got in my mind is every word that you just said.
Right.
I really don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear your apology. I don't want to hear your explanation because to me there is no explanation. I don't want to hear any of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the Bible is very clear when it says live at peace with what all men. You know what I'm saying? And we, and as a whole, as an entire people, because at the end of the day, one of the worst things I believe that you can do, period, is attack anybody's parenthood, whether you're a man or a woman.
Yes.
One of the worst thing, and another worst thing that you can do as a man or a woman is attack their character, their integrity, and their morality, right? Who you are is made up of your character, your integrity, and your morality. When you begin to attack those things in people, right, it is very hard to come back from that because at that point, I don't hear nothing. Like you are
You are right.
sounding like Charlie Brown, that teacher, on wah wah wah. That's all I hear. Because once you attack my character, my integrity, or my morality, all bets are off. I'm not hearing you at that point. And there's no really coming back from that. Why? Because what you just attacked carried a spirit that you really wanted to resonate
Mm.
on the inside of me. So I can't even hear until we deal with the spirit. Once I actually deal with the spirit that just attacked,
Mm.
then I can hear
Mm.
you. And then we can probably become at peace, right? But you just attacked my womanhood. Now
Mm-hmm.
I got a problem because that's part of who I am. You just attacked an offspring that is innocent. And
Yes.
this is why people, I literally just saw this the other day on Facebook scrolling through, and this is why sometimes I just need to stop scrolling people's pages because you just run across some crap and you just be like, what? That is not what that meant. But it was when they were at war, and God had given them the command, and He said it was the war they were fighting against. I think the Amalekites, and He said, kill all the women, the children, or whatever, all this stuff. And that's why I say when you're at war, this is why I'm being very specific. When
Mm-hmm.
you are at war, all bets are off because there is no dividing line, right? At war. This is
Yes.
why we should not live at war with anybody, like, period. Because when we do, all bets come off. There are no rules at war, right? There's rules of engagement, but there are no rules of as far as who's off limits when you're at war.
I
That's
had
the
to learn
problem.
that. I had to learn
Yeah.
that though, because I had to realize that not everybody was raised up the way that I was. Not everybody had the same level of mind and thinking that I do, and not everybody has, you know, the same heart that I do. So I had to really realize that, like, so when it happened to me, even when I experienced my children being attacked, my motherhood, all like that's what caused me to become a person that I didn't recognize. I I became irate. I became a whole nother person. But that was that. I believe that that was that something in me that had to come out, that
But
I
it
was
also
dealing
had a
with.
lot to deal with loss. When you're dealing with loss at a high level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I fought for
Exactly.
this. This I
Exactly.
fought for.
Exactly.
So when I'm dealing with loss at a high level of loss, when I'm dealing with it, and then you attack what I just fought for, and then you're attacking something, and my child is still fighting, right? Now you're attacking an existence. And see, what I think is that when we're at war, we don't process that. Nothing, there's no processing going on. It's just attack.
Right.
This is why we can't live at war with people, because we're not fully understanding, truthfully, the art of engagement.
Mm-hmm.
It is a tactic, and it is tactical at war, because my job is to kill off my opponent
Mm-hmm.
by any means necessary. And this don't have nothing to do with like how we're raised, it's war. And there's strategies to this that the average person might not be ready for. But what I'm battling on the inside of me is a different war. I'm battling a war over my emotions. I'm battling a war over my mental capability. And now I'm being attacked from the outside. So now I gotta shut this down, because I'm already at war within, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Exactly.
I'm at here within. Okay. I fought for this pregnancy, right? I was in and out the hospital with this pregnancy. I did everything that I was supposed to do. And now I'm now watching my child war. And now I got a child that is now a warrior, right? And so now
Right.
my child is war. And see, I do not want people to think that we're off topic, because we're not.
Mm-hmm.
What we fail to realize is, as a people, is this: just because someone is able to finally conceive, that does not mean that they are in the mind space and in the head space, right, of fully being healed from what happened to them, right? And so, hi, Shaniqua. And so what happens is that we on the outside looking in see one thing, but the person that's living it is experiencing something different. And so sometimes, after experiencing a loss, to then go through the process of conception, to then go through the process of carrying, to then go through the process of birthing, all of that plays a major role in your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. So to then have to experience something else that is equally traumatic, that goes from loss, that goes to birth, and now I gotta fight people. I'm still trying to process through the first two stages, loss and then birth. Because now, and if I personally am not trying to literally tell your business. So I'm being very careful with the words that I'm using, because it's Shaniqua's own private story that, if she so chooses one day to tell it, I think that people will begin to appreciate her story a lot more if we begin to understand that after experiencing a loss, and even though I was yet still able to conceive and give birth to a child, I am still not healed from the loss, nor am I healed if I have to watch my child fight. So, in the midst of all of that, you can then become in conflict with others, right? Because in the midst of all that, I still have to deal with people. I'm still dealing with people. People are people. I still got to deal with people. So I might still have, you know what I'm saying, old beef. We might still have a little static. We might still have a little something with each other. But that's not necessarily where I'm at, but I get it. That's where you at. So therefore now I got to sit up here and compartmentalize all of this crap. What is important to me? What is not important to me? What do I really need to respond to? What don't I respond to? Right? And so when we begin to go through all of that and you having all of these emotions going on in your mind, I cannot fathom how to deal with this. So what happens? You attack, I'm attacking back. You hit hard, I'm hit harder. And it becomes a battlefield. Your mind becomes a battlefield, and then your life becomes a battlefield until you realize what is the ultimate goal and purpose of any of this. And when you realize that it ain't nothing and you just let that stuff roll and let it drop, and then you begin to focus on what is important, which is your own personal self, your own healing, your own growth, your own becoming a mother. You know what I'm saying? And then what happened? Next thing you know, Haniqua got twins. And so now I ain't got 2 kids, I got 3. And then what happened?
And now I could do something and not for nothing. That's not the heart that I have. But look at how God was able to place favor upon me, where he showed those ones. He showed the people who spoke against me, who condemned me, who spoke down on me, who tried to use my loss against me. And I'm sorry, I lost the train of thought, but he showed them, well, you know what? I'm gonna bless her, and now she has double. You know what I'm saying?
But I think the ultimate person that he showed was your own self. He showed you, because God. So oftentimes in the good church world, and I love y'all, I really do. But oftentimes when we always want to use things and say, like, as if, oh, God will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. And one of the things that I have grown keen to understanding is that people are not my enemies. You're not. Right? So a lot of times when God blesses us, we sometimes feel as if he's blessing us to show people, like, here's the table. You're not even my enemy. You don't have that much power, nor do you have that much authority to be an enemy. If I really understand scripture very well on who the enemy is, you don't even operate in that realm to be an enemy, right? So when God blesses us, he blessed you to show you who he is, right? Because oftentimes we forget whom he is. And so when he blessed you with your double, that was to show you, look at who I am. Look at what I will do for you when you begin to drop the focus on that which is not important. And when you focus on yourself and what you have experienced, because we have loss is a very it's a multidimensional word, right? We're dealing with loss of pregnancy loss and infant loss, right? But when you literally, that's one of the reasons why I did not necessarily specifically call out in the flyer of this surviving after pregnancy loss, surviving after pregnancy and infant loss,
Okay.
right? Because that's the ultimate goal. But prior to that, there have been multiple stages of loss, period, right? And when you go through multiple stages of loss,
Yes.
when you go through the ultimate loss is the loss of a parent, right? And then I lose friendships,
Yes.
I lose people, I lose sacred connections, I lose this. I begin to lose so much to the point where when it builds up to my pregnancy loss, that right there literally has the potential and the power to take me out. But then I'm still here and I'm still fighting and I'm still pressing. And then I begin to experience once again conception. But now I'm so scared that I could lose it that I want to do everything in my power to keep it, right? So I do everything, like you said with Genesis. I went to them doctors probably like, if she don't get up out of here, but they understood because they understood the scared. They understood that I'm scared to lose. I don't want to lose this one, so I need to hold. And what I do believe is that this is why I believe that it is very important. As a people to begin to understand, right, where we are at mentally, where we are at emotionally, where we are at spiritually, and even where we are at physically. Because even the arguments and the fights that you went in through that you were in with people, that literally just signified what was going on the inside of you as far as the war you were at within self. And it just began to manifest on the outside because everything that was ever said, everything that was ever spoken, a lot of that honestly was taken out of context. And then you had a whole lot of he say, she say that was going on in the midst of all of that because someone said you said, and someone said you did this.
Yes.
Said you did that. And when two grown women, especially women, and in your instance, two grown women can't come to a common ground of understanding in order to understand that we need to get rid of all these middle people and talk as now two grown mothers that are that are growing in the realm of what we lost. We now have, so now we need to have a conversation as two grown mothers, as two grown women, and be able to put all this foolishness aside, because everything that was lashed out, everything that was spoken, every word that was spoken was literally spoken due to misunderstandings and miscommunication, period. A lot of that fire, that fieriness, that the venom, the nastiness, the vileness of it, the the cutting of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that had to do with a lot of misunderstanding, and a lot of that also had to do with the fact that you, your own personal self, was battling loss. The other person was battling loss. It just wasn't the same type of loss. Everybody's battling a version of a loss, and nobody's understanding each other. And the fact that, we actually got something in common because we just lost. So now that we're lost, we're like this with each other, with all this other extra stuff. And the truth of the matter is that in the midst of all of that, God had to show you who he exactly is and who he was and who he will always be, which is the one that can bless in the midst of it all.
I can't hear nothing.
Oh, in your AirPods? Hold up, let's see. Let's see. She lost her sound, y'all. Hold up. Let's see. You got your sound back? Try listening through your phone. Take out the air. Hold up.
I don't know what just happened. Let me see. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I hear you though? So you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't know
hear
what's
you.
going on. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Try
goodness.
taking them out.
Take them out.
Mm-hmm.
Still can't hear you.
Oh, you still can't? We'll figure out the sound, y'all. Don't worry.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. Does it sound funny?
No, it doesn't sound funny.
Okay. I don't know what happened. The audio just, oh boy. And then now the picture's gone.
Don't worry about it. We good.
Okay.
Hold up. But yeah, so
Cause it was getting deep, and I was getting ready to say something. So it's funny how that happened. But like I said earlier, I mentioned that there was some things that had to come up out of me that I was dealing with. Like you said, that manifested. I couldn't even believe the level of rage that I had in me, or that I was dealing with, and my behavior and my reactions towards a lot of things. But that was at a time where I have to admit I had a lot of maturing to do. And you know what's so funny? You talked me through some of those times back then. It was your words that hit me and that stick with me till today. And in particular moments where I was dealing with hurt from the people's words and people's judgment. Your role was very significant. So it's funny how things work. That's all I'll say.
as they always say, God works in mysterious ways, right? But at the end of the day, it's how we grow from and how we learn from the processes that we go through. And one of the things, that's why I always told you, I watched you from afar. I never wanted to get in the midst of anything, because I knew that whatever God was going to do, he was definitely going to do in and through you for in due time and in due season, right? Which is part of the reason why I believe that everything that you went through, you had to go through it. Like, none of this was by happenstance. None of it was by circumstance. It was all due to driving out a purpose, which is the reason why I believe that you have to shift how you think about situations, right? Because if I think about it, if I think about things within my flesh and within my emotions, I'm not necessarily going to process it right. But if I think about it in the realm of what was each of us experiencing at that time, I will then begin to make sense of the situation a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree.
And I've always been one to say that, not that we're speaking in code, but I'm very careful because the other person is not necessarily on this live. So there's always your side, their side, and then somewhere in the middle, lies the truth. And I'm actually, the truth of the matter is very close with both of them, right? And with both of them, I have literally watched both of them from afar. That's just, it's something that I actually do. And I do it for a reason. Number one, because I believe that as women, we all grow, we all mature. There are certain things that I did when I was in my 20s that I absolutely, at the great, and I say great because I mean great, at the great age of 39, I would not do. And I know that, especially for these two, there's so much greatness on the inside of them that at back then compared to now, they are definitely not the same people. And that as they grow older and even mature, even beyond where they are today, they will both look back on it and be like, you know what? Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Because I have experienced, I think every person that will listen to this podcast, this show, this episode would have experienced something that possibly could have taken you outside of your character, outside of who you are, because of what you were actually battling that really had nothing to do with the other person. It had everything to do with what you were battling on the inside. And I believe that sometimes what we fail to understand is that when a person is battling loss, 9 times out of 10, half of what they might feel, half of what they might say has nothing to do with you. And what might have happened is there is a trigger that goes off. And when we don't fully understand how to process our triggers, we then associate the trigger with the person as opposed to associating the trigger with the actual feeling and the emotion of what really is taking place behind the scenes. And I've just been very cognizant of that, especially triggers, because as of lately, I've been triggered a lot. And sometimes we don't even realize when we trigger other people. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is important, that we begin to become cognizant of those things within our own selves. So that's what I wanted to say, Haniqua, because I like I said, I watch you from afar, and I watch you grow into a mother, you know, and not a mother of one, but a mother of 4 beautiful babies that are just growing up like literally right before my good eyes. And I just think that it is powerful to watch the transition that you've gone through. I think that it is powerful to see the transition. I think that it is powerful to witness the transition. And I think that it is inspirational for even a young woman, or even an older woman like myself at the great age of 39, or even another older woman at the great age of 40 plus, 50 plus, whatever, to understand the resiliency and honestly, like the enlightenment that you have upon your whole life. You know, you have battled so much, and to see you overcome each battle, and to see you overcome the struggles, to see you literally take everything by the reins, even in times in which you wanted to give up, even in times in which you wanted to just say, you know what, forget all of this, I'm about to throw everything away, and you still yet held on. I think that is powerful. I think that is inspiring. It is awe-inspiring. I think that it is encouraging. I think that there is so much more that people will begin to see from you. They will see a different side of you. And even as you grow and your words begin to change and your words begin to grow, and everything about you literally just begins to transform even the more, because it's just going to be more natural, right? If this is not going to be something that, you know, it's going to be like, boom. No, it's going to literally be a natural transition even within your own self. And as you begin to water your children, right? Because as a mother, you're a nurturer, so you're going to water them, and you begin to see them grow, and you begin to see them transform. And you then begin to see how the life that you live will begin to live through them, right? Because that's what, as a mother, that's what you do. You want the life that you live, the life, meaning what you show them, what you display to them, what you give them, you know, everything that you give them as far as all of the nutrients, all of the key things to build and shape their character, to build and shape their integrity, to build and shape their morality, all those things that's important. That's what you give as a mother. Those are the nutrients. That's the nurturing, right? And you give that, and you begin to just transform and transfix, you know, everything that goes on around them. And the outcome is just going to be so beautiful and wonderful. And as you begin to speak more and become comfortable with your voice, and become comfortable even with your quirkiness and your awkwardness, you become comfortable with that, you'll begin to see clearer than even what you're seeing right now. And I think that is imperative. I don't want you to ever, ever, ever be ashamed of what you have made it through. I don't want you to ever feel guilty about any decisions that you ever had to make, because at the end of the day, we've all had to make some very testy decisions. We've all done it. Everybody. I don't know one person that has not had to make a racy decision, and we made them. And whatever the consequence, good, bad, or indifferent, we lived it. Hello, somebody. Okay. So don't be ashamed. Don't feel guilt. Don't feel none of that. Feel empowered. That's the key. I want you to feel empowered because you made it and you found your joy after the storm. You made it. And them babies, every single last one of them, are the joy after the storm. The life that you live today is the joy after the storm. Everything that you have today is the joy after the storm. I remember when you were searching for apartments, everything. I remember when you needed a new car, girl, I remember.
Yes.
So I just want you to know that your story is very inspiring, and this is part of the reason why you have to begin to tell it. And it's going to truly help others that have experienced what you've experienced at a young age. You're very young and you've experienced a lot and you've gone through a lot. You've been accused of a lot. And the key is that you've never answered to the accusations of people. That's the key, girl. Don't be like me, because I started justifying stuff. I did not. Don't. I have since now learned about all of that. No, I did not. I don't. Listen here. Assume what you want. Think what you want. It is what it is. I don't need to answer to what your assumptions, nor do I need to answer to your accusations. The only thing I need to do is become whole and heal. And like you said, this process, now that you think about it, has become like a healing process. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, I can unpack this now. Sometimes we pack things up because it's like we don't have the ability to unpack it at a certain point in time. But when you see the total picture and you see the full picture and you see where you at compared to where you was, you're like, oh, okay, all right, I got you. I could do this now. I can unpack this now. And me unpacking it is not going to be detrimental to my health, or my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, my physical well-being. You know what I'm saying? And you always know I'm always here. A lot of people know that I'm always here, but I want to be here because I feel that it is important that we should always have someone that we can bounce anything off of. And I just want to say that publicly. You can always reach out to me for whatever, because I think that's imperative. I think sometimes as we're processing through things, especially our feelings, our emotions, all that other extra stuff, even things spiritually, it's very hard to find people that actually understand exactly what we're saying and who we are and where we're trying to go, right? Because a lot of times, no, that ain't what that is. No, that is what it is. That's how I feel. So let me get through my feeling and then you can tell me something else, okay? But let me process through this feeling real quick. So I want to throw that out there for you and let you know that I will always be here, and just let you know that even if it's, from afar, as I always have been, silently pushing you, praying for you, and encouraging you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to do great things. And I don't say that as a cliche. I say that as real, right? Because we all have a purpose, and your purpose is being birthed now. So get to it, okay? That's what I'm gonna say. Get to it. You done delayed yourself anyway. So, and that's how I want people to understand that one of the things about me is that I'm a very real person, right? And because I'm a very real person, I have a real heart for people in general. Um, and because I have a very real heart, because I have a very real heart for people, hey girl, um, I am a person that will always extend myself to people. Um, and most people that really know me know that about me, especially if I consider you someone that's close to me. And I extend myself to Shaniqua because I feel that in this moment and in this season and in this time, a lot of times when you need help in order to birth out your purpose, you have to have the right people around you that are going to uplift you, that are going to encourage you, that are going to inspire you in order for you to push out the purpose. This
Yes.
podcast honestly would not be here today if it wasn't for two people. One of them is actually he's watching right now, Jadoni, and then the other person is Adrian, right? Both of them pushed me to birth out my purpose because I just would have sat on it. You need people around you that are going to encourage you to push out your purpose. And then you need people that are going to be around you for even when you don't feel like it to do it, right? Because we don't always feel like it, but we know we got to do it, right? And you also need people around you that are going to check you on your nonsense, right? So sometimes this is that process, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I literally went to Shaniqua and I was like, I need you to come on a podcast because I need you to tell your story, right? Whichever way you come, I need you to tell your story. I told her, I said, she's like, you going to ask me questions? No, this is going to be a conversation. Why? Because it's personal, right? I don't need to give you a Q&A for your own personal story. I could shape it and make sure that, you control the flow, but I'm not going to control your words, right?
Right.
I don't want you scripted, right? I don't want you just saying one thing if you want to say another thing. And I personally believe that is important when you're allowing people the space in which to tell their story in their own way, right? And not forcing the words out of their mouth. I believe that is important because some things we're not ready to openly discuss, other things we are. So we have to be very mindful of that, right? I wanted Shaniqua on here because I wanted her to have the experience of using her voice. Don't be afraid of your voice.
Yes.
Speak. Hear yourself. Know yourself, right? And that's why as y'all begin to listen to her, she began to be like, oh, you know what? Now I remember this. I remember that. It's because sometimes when we're so used to not speaking and we're so used to not hearing our own voice, sometimes we don't even fully recognize the power or the impact of our story, right? And how it actually impacted our life. Then you then have to go through the process of saying, okay, now let's process through some of these things that happen, right? Because I can speak it because this is what happened. In my mind, this is what it was. But now I need to look at what was really going on behind the scenes on the inside and in the inward parts of this story. What was this?
Right.
Right? So now, okay, I know I was attacked. I know I was this. I know I was that. But why? Because I had a situation that I was dealing with loss. And what best way for the enemy than to come at me than by using another person to come at me, and then me then allowing the enemy to use me to come at them, and then us not be able to come to a common ground of understanding within the realm of communication.
Because
Communication.
that's all it was the enemy using us to attack each other. We just touched on some things that I realized I needed healing on, as well, like some other things I needed healing on. So I just want to say thank you for this experience because I have so much more to my story. I have so much more losses and so many other experiences to share, but this was a first time thing for me. And um not that I maybe I can't tell it. It's just that I'm working on the confidence, and
Mhm.
being on this type of platform, so I'm still getting it's like God is kind of like warming me up, getting me used to,
Listen, we like
I'm
being
learning.
the launching pad for people. Come on here and just launch out and go on and go forward and do what you do and do it well and all the other extra stuff. No, because that's the purpose of this. The thing, the purpose of birthing isn't for you to be like when you
Right,
give birth to a baby, the baby ain't grown.
right. And it's just so
It
funny
goes
because
through stages.
exactly,
Go through your stage,
exactly.
honey. You're
So
gonna go
I
through,
appreciate it.
but it's gonna be like this though. You ain't gonna be 10 years. Like you ain't gonna take 10 years. I'll say that. Okay.
I'm already, and that's the thing. That's what I wanted to say. Time, like God, he's so good. Like it was like the perfect timing because I'm just now. You said something earlier, even though we was having some technical difficulties. I heard you, and you said it's like an enlightenment, and I call it awakening or awareness, and it's like going through this transformation and just being changed. And like you said, it naturally comes. It's like I'm noticing certain things about me, even the way that I speak, but I'm just nervous about the camera and the live platform right now. But the way that he's allowing me, like you said, when it comes to our purpose, he connects us with people to push us, and it's like he's using me to do that right now, and I don't even know how. I can't even understand. I can't process it, but there's lives that I'm touching right now, like that I'm speaking to, and I'm just now coming out of my transformation. So this is big. There's so much more I know that he wants to pull out of me and show. So I'm excited.
Well,
I'm
I'm here
grateful.
for it. I am here for the transformation and the pulling out and all of that. Um, like I said earlier, some of y'all missed it, but Shaniqua and I have known each other for almost 10 years now. I met her when she was literally just coming out of high school. So I have watched her and she's watched me.
Hmm.
And I think that it is imperative that while you're watching someone, um, you acknowledge who they are, right? And sometimes when we're going through situations, we have issues with acknowledging people for who they are because you hear so much. But that's one of the reasons why I've always watched her from afar because I've always been one to say, I don't believe the audio, right? But I watched this video.
Hmm.
What do I
Hmm.
see? You know what I'm saying? And there's always been greatness. There's always been an air of confidence, even though you might have been a little insecure, right? But
Right,
there's always
right,
been an air where if pulled in the right direction, this would have been done over 5 years ago, right? But we do all things in God's timing, so therefore we're not delayed. Nothing is a delay. Everything has to happen in its own timing, and we have to go through a process. So I'm happy to see your process now because you're ready for more, right? And a lot of that comes from becoming a mother, right? Because now I have one purpose that I wanted that is now fulfilled, and you got to fulfill 4 times. So now it's like, okay, what's next? Now because I did this, and I commend you. Like I always told, I told you from the time when I saw that you had Genesis, and so when I saw that you had them two twins, when them twins came, I was like, ma'am, you know what? Okay, you ain't playing no games out here in these streets.
oh my goodness.
Then when the little angel came,
Yes.
I said, and every time I would keep messaging you and said, you give me hope. I I would keep my everything because
I
I wanted,
remember.
because I think that is important. I wanted you to understand that your story is inspiring, right? Because as me being a woman that had miscarried, but prior to that, I was a woman that they told I would never conceive. I would have never thought to find a doctor that could help me to conceive had I not been watching you from afar saying, oh, I know she said that they said she would never conceive. So it got to be possible, right? So, we inspire people unbeknownst to us. We inspire people, and that's important. And I had to let you know personally what you were doing for me, that you were giving me hope. I don't think we fully grasp the fact that hope is very important because without it, we can't see tomorrow, right? So without hope in me saying, you know what, one day I know I'll become a mother. Look at her. You're instilling hope in people in an area in which they thought was hopeless.
Right.
So that's actually very powerful, right? And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this topic this month, because I want to instill hope in people through what? Your story.
Right.
Pastor Demetra's story, Kiara's story, India and Letitia's story, because all of y'all are going to instill hope in people where they thought there was no hope. That's the purpose of this. The purpose of this we have to instill hope in people, right? Because at the end of the day, there is a purpose for every loss. There is a purpose for every bit of suffering. There is a purpose for every bit of pain. And whatever that purpose is, hope. If I can't do one thing, which is instill hope in you to keep looking for tomorrow, because that's the problem. That's our last one. We were talking about mental health, mental wealth, suicide awareness. Mm-hmm. A lot of the times, people go through things because they've lost hope.
Yes. Yes.
Hope and faith work together. So, if I don't have hope, how do you expect me to have faith?
Right.
I can't see tomorrow for me to have faith in something that is unseen. I can't see it. It ain't there. So why am I here? Why am I living?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then every day you're finding purpose. Every day. Faith helps you find your purpose. Boom. All of that, everything comes in together. And those are the things that we have to begin to help people to understand. Mm-hmm. And it's that we need you to live out your purpose. We can't allow you to be lost, L-O-S-T, and lost, L-O-S-S. Had to, because some folk been thought, well, she don't know which word she using. Yes, I do. Lost and lost. I'm just saying. So that's what we are here for this month on the Muzzle Is Off Podcast. We are going to instill hope in people in an area in which they thought was hopeless.
Let me tell you something. This is giving to me, it's doing so many things, and it's also breaking cycles. It's breaking patterns. It's breaking, the lies that the enemy has been telling me that I can't speak out. The anxiety, I'm telling you, is heavy, but I feel like I will overcome, and I see it. I see, right? Like, I just remember the place that I was in, and when I was hopeless and just living life purposeless, like with no
aim, no focus, no nothing, just living.
Yes. So I believe this is the gateway. This is the start. This is just me kind of filling this out a little bit, and I'm glad that I was able to still, deliver a message and speak to some extent. But I feel like there's so much more that I can say, that I have to say, and I wanna deliver it confidently and be able to be used efficiently.
You will be, and you did. I want you to say that I want you to understand that everything that you said today, you did speak confidently. Okay?
Thank you.
Even in the areas in which you thought that you did not, everything was understood. Trust and believe that. Okay? Understand that you have your own unique way of speaking. You're not going to be like everybody else. And I'm sure you've heard this before. So let me just reiterate it for you. You are a very unique person. Therefore, you have to do things in the uniqueness that God created you in. So you, ma'am, are not going to sound like anybody else but haniqua. Okay? Period. People used to tell me, I never forget, someone asked me before, well, who do you sound like when you preach? I'm like, what? I don't know. Nakia. No,
Right.
like, but who do you? I was like, I never watched none of those people on TV. I don't even know who they are really and truly. So when I do, I sound like Nakia.
Right.
I don't emulate. There's not a woman out here that I will emulate.
Because that's
And
not authentic. That's not.
well, you know what it is, but I mean, sad enough that, I mean, that's what people are used to. This person grabs their ear and I'm not doing all that. I'm Nakia. I wasn't taught that way, and I wasn't going to go in that route. So don't you think that you have to sound like anybody, speak like anybody, be like anybody. You are you, and that's why God created you just the way that you are, in your own uniqueness. Okay, so whether that means that you got to stop, take a breath in between, you stop, you take a breath in between, and you keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Whether that means you got to listen, whatever it is that you got to do, you do it, and you do it well, and be you. Okay, because you're going to speak a lot more, and you'll be fine. Okay, you're going to be fine. There's not going to be any issues, and this is where we begin to use our words in order to uplift and encourage and empower. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had, like, in a lot of my posts before, I had started to write, I uplift, I encourage, I empower, all that stuff. I inspire, because that's what our words need to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if I'm in my good private time and I crack a joke, then I'm in my private time and I crack a joke. It's okay. But when you hear me publicly, I inspire, I encourage, right? Because that's who we are. I empower. That's who we are. Why? Because, like I said, the bishop preached that one good time. And like I said, that message stuck with me all these years when he said, words carry spirits.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, I have learned to be mindful of my words. Sometimes that doesn't always work for me, but for the most part, I have learned to be mindful of my words. And what I will say, I have also learned how to be mindful of how to receive the words of others. If it triggers something in me, they have no idea what it is triggering. So I can't even assign that to you. I got to deal with my own personal trigger. That's it. And that is how you remove yourself from being at war with people. You don't have the power to trigger me, period.
Right.
I am triggered because I need to deal with something that you said that caused an emotion to go off in me. That emotion is not attached to you, it's attached to me.
Right.
And we have to learn how to address that and deal with that on a personal level so that we are not at war with people, period. Mm-hmm. And once the world learns how to do that, we would be at such a great place. But until then, we just have to take that as on a one-on-one basis, one-by-one basis, step-by-step basis, and learn how to process through all of that stuff. Because, people, oh, you made me mad. No, you can't make me anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't have the power to make me, you don't have the power to control my emotions to make me anything. So you didn't make me mad. You didn't make me happy. You didn't make me sad. We have to stop absolving, giving people the power over our emotions to act like they know how to make us feel and do and all sorts of extra stuff. You know, I need to be happy because I'm happy, and I need to be joyful because I'm joyful. The joy of the Lord is my strength. That's what the good word says. So therefore, if I find joy, then I can find strength. Point blank, period. So what I want to say is I want to thank each and every last person that watched us tonight. And what you actually witnessed was a woman that really shared honestly a synopsis, because she really could have went into a lot more detail, but of her story, of her testimony, of her life experiences. You heard it, and then you also then heard a woman being inspired and uplifted and encouraged through her story in order to be able to process it and look at certain things that transpired in the midst of her story a little differently. Shaniqua, do you want to leave the people with anything before we go?
Yes. You spoke on, I just wanted to say this also, because this was sensitive for me today too. Just realizing that we have to understand to just leave things where they are, and that certain things have to do with what the person is going through. So it's so funny that you mentioned that, and I just wanted to elaborate on that, because yes, it keeps us from war, and it allows us to work on ourselves and the things that we're going through and heal properly. Because if we're continuing to create wars, how can we work on the things that that we've dealt with, or the other wars that need to heal from, or the other experiences, or traumatic experiences that we're trying to heal and navigate through. So that was important for me. I just want to say thank you, and I have so much more to say, and I'm looking forward, and I'll be back.
Yes, you will be. You will definitely be back, and I can't wait for you to be back. And I just want to say I love you very much, and I am so proud of you.
Thank you. I love you so much too. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I want you to know that you're doing wonderful. And even if you feel some days a little inadequate, just know that you are more than enough. You are doing wonderful. Okay? Wonderful. And just walk in that and embrace it, and hold on to that. Even like I said, even on days when you might not feel like you are, but you are. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Don't allow a temporary emotion or feeling of impatience to rule over what you know you've done. Period. So celebrate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back, and know that you are doing wonderful. And I can't wait, honestly, to hear and see more of you doing what I know you're going to do, which is honestly reinstilling hope in people that have truly felt hopeless. So with that being said, thank you to everyone for watching the Muzzle Is Off podcast on this evening. I just want to leave you guys with, we are truly focused on restoring the hope. That's what we're focused on for this month, and that's what we're gonna do. We gonna restore hope, okay? Everybody shout with the restoration of hope up in here, because I believe that it is imperative, and I believe that it is important, and especially in days where we're so uncertain, one of the things that we need to be certain of is hope for tomorrow. Period. Point blank. The end. So thank y'all for joining. Tune in next week. We will have Pastor Demetra Faith Hubbard on next week, and she is going to give us her story. And let me say this, like Shaniqua, she also has not spoken publicly about her miscarriages. She has spoken on a one-on-one setting like Shaniqua, but never publicly on a public platform. And I just believe the Lord has done it this way for a reason. And we're just going to bless him for what he is doing. I truly do believe that. I think that we're going to be birthing out a lot come this month, and I can't wait for it. And I can't wait to see what happens after it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in next week on the 14th, I believe it is. Yes, next week on the 14th at 7 p.m. We'll be back here live with the Muzzle Is Off podcast. Yeah, we will be back live with the Muzzle Is Off podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just like I'm think it's crazy because I'm literally thinking about the fact of everybody that is actually coming on. The majority of people, almost everyone, has not necessarily spoken openly, publicly about what they've experienced. So that is very unique, and I appreciate what the Lord is doing in this season and in this time. To give a voice to people, for people to be able to voice everything that they have gone through publicly and share it, real publicly with mass people, and not just within their own personal realm. So I do believe we are doing something unique here. So like I said, tune in, be with us every Wednesday of this month as we continue to go forward. And we're basically, like I said, restoring hope. We're dealing with the joy after the storm, and we are dealing with surviving after loss. So thank y'all for tuning in. Until next week, everybody have a good night, and I will see y'all in the comment section thereafter. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.